Speak now to the Conservative MP, Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, Crispin Blunt, who's with me now. Yeah, bit of a surprise.
A huge surprise, tactical and strategic surprise. As an ex-soldier, one can only just admire the way she has kept the confidentiality around this, and everyone is obviously astonished at the decision this morning because no one saw this coming. There's a perfectly sound case for it, which she made this morning. And of course, in terms of delivering Brexit, which is the big foreign policy decision for the country to reorientate ourselves, the country took that decision last year, but it's got to be delivered and got home. It makes a certain amount of sense then to make sure she's got a sufficient mandate from the electorate to get it done. And plainly, there's the opportunity to do so. And we've got to hope that the electorate will be convinced of that case over the next few weeks.
But the 48% of people in the referendum who voted to remain, is this a chance for them to try and change the outcome, to try and change the direction of the country, as the Liberal Democrats are saying?
Well, I think that's going to be plainly the Lib Dems' pitch to the country, but they're not led by a leader who's particularly convincing, so that's obviously a big weakness for them. Doesn't look obviously remotely like a potential Prime Minister, so that's going to be quite difficult for them. And actually the opinion polls would suggest the country recognise the decision has been taken, and actually what we need to do is get on and deliver it. And I think people are quite admiring of the Prime Minister about how she's conducted the government over the last 9 months, and people who are not utterly obsessed with politics I think are going to look at this and go, she needs the authority to get this done. The country took a decision, and of course people who are hugely committed to the European ideal and really get Europe here in a way that others don't. Of course, I suspect they will be attracted by that. But it was a tiny minority in the Conservative Party who felt like that. I think it's actually a pretty small minority in the country. And the 48% mostly were people thinking, well, I don't really know, but it's probably the best decision overall for the country. But equally, 52% of people, many more of whom actually believed in Britain taking back its sovereignty, then took that decision. So I think she's in quite a strong place.
Some, though, accusing her of political opportunism, but she's actually looked at the opinion polls. She's 20 points ahead of Labour. She can see the problems with Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, and so she's decided to put the interests of her and her party before the country.
Well, it's in the interest of the country that we have a government with authority to deliver the biggest change in our country's global positioning for 40 years. And so I think in those terms she is serving the national interest by securing her position as Prime Minister, as she believes she will, if she puts it to the country to decide.
Do you think that she wanted a personal mandate as well? I mean, Nicola Sturgeon has made the point, hasn't she, that she has no personal mandate. It was, of course, David Cameron who won the general election in 2015. Do you think Theresa May wanted to get people to vote for her personally? I
don't actually think that would have been behind her decision. If you like, it's a kind of fringe benefit that if she does get the victory she hopes she will on the 8th of June, that it will be her victory. But for her making the decision is actually one about the national interest and about, obviously, plainly, the national interest and the Conservative Party's interests obviously overlap if you're the Conservative Prime Minister. Of course they do. But she will see this in terms of the national interest of then having a government behind her with sufficient authority in Parliament to get this difficult process of Brexit delivered, to deliver the referendum result, the decision of last year.
Okay. Crispin Blunt, thank you very much indeed.